for global. Yeah, I think it's just check there. Okay, so we're going to look at a question. I'm going to draw, the picture is going to be most important here. So they give you a parabola that looks something like this. And then they give you a line like that. And then what you have here is a vertical line like this. This is vertical. I mean, mine doesn't look 100% vertical, but it should be. PQA. Then this is point D. This is point C. This point here is -4. This point here is B. Okay, we've got all the points. A, B, C, D. That is P, that's Q. Okay, this is O. O is usually the center. Then they tell you that f of x.
Wait, is that O? I always thought that was 0.
O for origin. Point O is the center. Usually the origin. So f of x. Please just check if this is still visible on the camera.
Yeah, I moved it.
So f of x is 2x squared minus 8. And they tell you that g of x is ax plus b. It's just another way of writing. Some textbooks don't use mx plus c. Some use ax plus b, but it doesn't make a difference. It's still the same. So they haven't given you the actual equation of the line. Does that make sense? Okay, I'll give you a chance to copy. No pressure. Okay. You ready? We're going to do step by step. Question and answer. So now, first question. I'm going to do a question in black, try doing the answer in a different color. So determine the length of OD. That's the first question. Determine the length of OD. So that's the first thing they asked us to do. So what suggestions do you have on determining the length of OD? Actually, you have enough information to work it out. O is the origin.
Yeah.
To D. What is D? Look at the parabola.
It's the turning point.
It's the turning point. And so the parabola is F, the straight line is G. So you have the information about the turning point from the equation, right? From the formula. So what are the coordinates of the turning point?
-0, -8.
0 and -8.
Sorry.
So from there you should be able to tell me what the length of OD is. It's here too.
And then you just did the difference.
So what is the length of from OD? From 0 straight down, it's 0 to 8. So it's 8 units.
Okay.
Simple, 8 units. So OD is actually just 8 units. That's it. 8 units. Okay, number 2, determine the length of AB. Determine the length of AB. Determine the length of AB. What is that now?
Well, A and B are at the same, just the one's negative and the one's positive.
Yep, so we need to find the x-intercept of the parabola first. And then you take that distance plus that distance, right?
Or just double it.
Yeah. So we're going to work out the x-intercepts.
Mm-hmm.
So to work out the x-intercept, you're going to take the formula. Y is equal to 2x squared minus 8. Let y, for the x-intercept, you always let y equal 0. x squared minus 8. Then what do we get? 8 is equal to 2x squared. And we divide by 2, both sides. We get x squared is equal to 4. You square root both sides, you get x equals plus minus 2. You in agreement? So then that means that coordinate of A is minus 2, 0. Coordinate of B is 2 and 0. So what's that? This is 2 units. This is also, okay, too quick. Sorry. I'm not gonna leave it behind. So this is 2 units, and this is also 2 units. So that makes AB equal to 4 units. Simply that. So AB from that is equal to 4 units. Okay. Okay. You great? You ready for the next one?
Yep.
I'm erasing these. I don't have. These are other kinds of questions that you could ask with the line. Number 3. Determine the coordinates of C. Determine the coordinates of C. C. Okay, I'll give you a chance to write it down. C is what?
C is the intercept.
Point of intersection. How do you... So, wait, did I jump? Sorry, I jumped. There's a question before that. Sorry, it says I need to write it down. Determine A and B. So let's determine A and B first. In other words, let's find the equation of a straight line first before we start working out what C is. Sorry, that's supposed to come first. I apologize for that.
So we know A equal, the points of A are minus 2 and 0. And then we know B is equal to 2 and 0.
You don't need, you're right. So in order for you to find the equation of a straight line, you need to find the gradient and then the y-intercept. We already found the B value is the y-intercept, right? The constant is the same as in our formula, the C. So B is equal to minus 4. Small letter B, hey? That's a y-intercept. So we've got that. Now, what do we currently have? We have yx. So in order to find what A is, in this case, you can now substitute any point that lies on the line. So you can substitute any point, coordinate that lies on the line. I can use that one, but A is also there. I can use either the negative 4, 0, or I can use point A. I'm going to choose to use point A. For A, y is 0, but x is negative 2. The y value is 0 at point A, and then x is negative 2. Following? So I'll give you a chance to write it down. Are you okay?
Yeah, wait for a second. So you just sub in the point.
I can sub in any point on the line if I have that C already. Now I'm going to, the point of doing this is trying to solve for A. The point of doing this is just trying to solve for A. Now we can find our A. Remember, what is our A here? It's our gradient, right? Remember, our positive gradient is supposed to be what? Negative. So this is going to become minus 4 is equal to minus 2A. Okay, wait, this is positive. Oh, yeah, that's because I did change that sign. So we divide both sides. We get the value of A. We get the value of A is negative 2. Great. Now, with that, we have our A, so now the actual equation of the line is minus 2x minus 4. So y equals minus 2x minus 4. That's the equation of the line. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Does it all make sense? So now we found A and B. Happy?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna
Wait,
erase.
what do you mean you found B? Oh yeah, you did.
B was the.
Yeah.
Remember some textbooks use ax plus b instead of mx plus c? Don't let that confuse you. We use y equals mx plus c, they use ax plus b.
Okay.
It's just a different way of writing it. Okay, let's go now. The next part was to find the coordinates of C. So C is a point of intersection. What do you always do when you find the coordinates of the point of intersection? C is a POI. POI stands for point of intersection.
So you just need to find C.
Sorry? Oh, sorry, I didn't write down the question. Find the coordinates of C. That's what they're asking you now. Find the coordinates of C.
Okay. So C is the POI, point of intersection.
What do you always do when you have a point of intersection? Equation 1, take the one equation, equate it with the other. So what you do, okay, you take the one equation and equate it with the other. And then you're going to solve for x. So equate equation 1 and equation 2 and solve for x. So we now have both our equations. We just said that g of x is minus 2x minus 4. So we're going to equate that with this one, right? This equate with that. And then you solve for x. Whenever you have a point of intersection, you equate the one formula with the other and solve for x. You're going to get a trinomial now.
Okay. So you make them the one equal the other, okay?
Yes. So you're going to say 2x squared minus 8 is equal to minus 2x minus 4.
Then you take the first one, that's...
We're going to get a trinomial here. It's coming at a very high speed. We can't run away from it.
So minus 2 4. So the one's the straight line, the one's the parabola.
Yeah, we equated them. And now we're going to solve for x. It's going to end up being a quadratic equation. So it's going to end up being a quadratic equation.
Okay.
So now this becomes 2x squared plus 2x minus 4 equals 0. Wait, there's a simpler way of doing this.
I take out the 2.
Exactly. Divide the whole thing by 2 because that's the highest common factor. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. I get x squared plus x minus 2 equals 0. Now it becomes a grade 9 trinomial.
X minus 1, x plus 1. I mean x minus minus.
X 2 and then 1. And then it's going to be plus 2 minus 1. And
oh, you move the 2 to the other side.
yep.
Singing Frozen. Yeah. Solve points of C.
Okay. You're going to end up with 2x values. You know why it makes sense? It's also important that you know why it makes sense. Remember, this is to find all the points of intersection. So you see there's not one point of intersection in C, but it's also, A is also. That's why it makes sense, but okay. So this leads to x equals 1 or x equals to negative 2.
Oh, we already have the one.
Yeah, we don't need, the point is we wanted to work out what this guy's coordinate was.
So therefore x equal
For C, the
or
x
x
value
equal
is
minus 2. And because C is
C is on the positive side of the x-axis, so it's x equals 1. Like I said, these diagrams are not drawn to scale, so we don't try and measure and say, but that -2 and 1 doesn't look like it. We're not going to measure it. They're not drawn to scale.
So therefore C
Is 1 and y, but now we need to find the y. How do you find the y part of it? How do you find the y part of the C?
Y.
You substitute the x into either one of these because it's on top of, it's part of the straight line, it's part of the parabola. That's why it's called a point of intersection. So you can choose, to find the y, you can choose whichever one to substitute into. So I like to go for the line because it's slightly easier, but it doesn't make a difference. Does that make sense?
So wait, so now I'm subbing in, so you sub in
the x value into either one of these two.
x value.
Sub in x values into either one of these two.
Line equation.
Yeah, you can also sub into the parabola equation. There's no rule about that, but I just prefer the line equation. So I'm gonna substitute x equals 1, and I have 1 minus 2 minus 4, and y equals minus 6. So C is 1, negative 6. Should always double check. That should make sense with the picture. X should be positive, y should be negative. So we found the coordinates of C. Is that 100% clear? Okay.
So if you ask us to find the coordinates of a point of intersection, all we do is make equation 1 equal equation 2.
Yeah.
So you make the parabola 1 equal the straight line 1.
Yeah.
And then we have to solve for x.
Solve for x and then substitute that x into either the straight line or the parabola.
So then it's a straight line. And then after that,
I like the straight line, but you can substitute into the parabola as well. Just only need to substitute into 1 because you're going to get 1 y value.
and from that you get the x value.
So when you put the two equations together and solve for x, you get the x value. Take the x value, substitute it into either one of the graphs from there. Does that make sense? So we move on. We're almost done. We just got a couple more of these. Okay. Can I erase? You see this question? Look, with one question we're asking so many things.
Yeah.
One graph we can.
So
look
if you
at
mess up the 1 point.
Yeah, it will have a ripple
You want
effect.
me to
What number are we on? Number 4.
5.
5.
Sir?
Sorry?
Does that keep? Yeah.
I don't know if it's clear, but if it's clear, I'll just leave it. Is it still clear? Yeah, leave it. It's fine. Don't cancel it. So, next question. If OR is equal to 1 unit, it says if OR is equal to 1 unit, determine the length of PQ. Determine the length of PQ. So if OR, oh, I forgot to put point R, did I? R is supposed to be there. R is supposed to be there, I just forgot it now. If OR is equal to 1 unit, determine the length of PQ.
Wait, OR is equal to 1 unit, so you need P and?
So they're saying
Where's Q?
So if OR is 1 unit, determine the length of PQ. What does that tell you? The fact that OR is 1 unit, what does that tell you? It tells you something important that you can use to work out P and Q.
That R is just 1 minus 1.
Negative 1 and 0.
So from that,
So these coordinates, you see, it's a vertical line. So this also has an x coordinate of. Okay, let me just keep reading.
Yeah, no, keep going.
This is negative 1, x value of negative 1 also.
Wait, I need to write that down, yeah.
And then this is also a y value of x value of negative 1. Does that make sense? I should have used this for the exam. This was going to be a good question.
That would have been
No,
a perfect question,
This,
sir.
I'm talking about this whole thing. Like, could get like 20 to 30 more.
And no one owns the book except I think.
No, it's fine. I've got a bunch of other questions. It's good for demonstration now.
Still casually skilled.
So, now, so we know that's -1. This one also has an x value of -1, right?
Right. Oh, therefore,
So we can-
Q equal.
No, just the x value. We need to find the y. In order for us to find...
No, but then it's -1y. Then Q equals
Yes,
-1.
we can't find the y of q because q is on the straight line.
Yeah.
And p is on the parabola. If you want to find the y of q, substitute -1 into the straight line. If you want to find the y of p, substitute -1 into the parabola. And then, to find the length of PQ, take this y value minus that one. Or the distance between those two. That would... The
I
distance
was
between...
listening.
Okay, let me explain again. You have the x value -1, right? Because they're all in line with r. Now, in order to find the length of this line, you want you to work out PQ. You need to know what y value this guy has and what y value this guy has. The difference between his y value and that y value tells you how long PQ is. Does that make sense? So let's work out the y value of q. Q is on the straight line, so I'm going to substitute -1 into the straight line. So -2, -1, -4. So this negative times negative is +2 -4. So Q has the coordinates -1, -2. What I did, Q is on the straight line, I substituted x equals -1 to the straight line. Now we found the coordinates of Q.
Okay, it's on its Q, so I just go y equal -2.
Substitute x equals -1 there. So now we found that the y value of Q is -2. So now we found the full coordinates of Q, which is -1, -2.
Okay.
Now we need to find the y coordinate of P. How are we going to find the y coordinate of P?
We can do parabola.
We're going to substitute x equals -1 into the parabola now. Here's another way of writing this. Let me show you, very important, and I'm emphasizing. Instead of writing y like this, a more precise way of writing this would be writing it f at x equals -1. When you're going to substitute that, this is a better way of writing this. And I should start implementing that a bit more. F at x equals -1. That just says I'm taking the function f and I'm substituting -1 in the place of x. Right? This is a better way of writing this.
It's confusing.
It's something you need to get used to. F is a parabola, right? This says whatever is in the bracket is always representing the value of x. So that means I'm substituting x with -1.
Oh, I thought you went for that. I was so confused.
No, this one is G, right? That's for G. So this one should have been G at -1. G at -1. Okay, that's what it really should have been.
Oh, so that equals 2.
3 times 1 -8. So 2 minus 8 is -6. So P is -1 -6. P is -1 -6.
Wait, why do you get rid of the negative?
-1 squared is +1.
Oh.
I'm almost done. I'm getting to the part. It's a whole heap, eh? Now we can answer the question. Determine the length of PQ. You can clearly see from the y values. How many units is PQ?
P and
Look at the y value of this guy.
my y units.
It would be 4. Because this guy has a y value of -2. This one has a value of -6. So PQ is equal to 4 units. Because from -2 to -6 is a 4 units distance. Does that make sense? So that now we've answered the question. Determine the length of PQ. We've now determined the length of PQ.
Okay.
Ready for the next question?
Yeah.
This was a very good exam.
So,
Next year, I think I'll use this one next year. Next year, first test, we'll probably pick it
yeah,
just from
maybe
here.
don't say that.
Oh, I'm assuming that everyone who sees this video who shouldn't be here next year should be in grade 11.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they can't tell.
Yeah, right. So, write down the equation of the axis of symmetry of F. Okay, what is the axis of symmetry? It's that vertical line.
So, wait, isn't the axis of symmetry the same thing for everything?
Yes, in your case it will be. 11, no. What question number are you on?
6.
6.
Yeah.
Write down the...
Isn't it always x equals 0? X equals
For your
0.
S in grade 10, yes. Write down the equation of the axis...
No, you changed this.
Write down the equation of the axis of symmetry. It's just going to be x equals 0, which is the y-axis. That's the line that cuts a parabola.
Would you ask it to us as what is the axis of symmetry?
Write down, yeah, they would ask you something like write down the equation of the axis of symmetry. This one should go a bit quicker. That's done. Number 7. Write down the domain and range
I forgot how to do domain and
of
range.
F. Write down the domain and range of F.
Where I need a second to remember what domain. There is no F.
F is a parabola.
There's no F called.
F is a parabola. F is a parabola. G is a straight line. Okay, write down the equation now. Write down the domain of F. Domain is the set of all the x values, right?
Alright, yeah.
So,
Set of.
domain is a set of all the x values. The range is a set of all the y values.
You have forgotten this.
Hmm?
I've forgotten this.
Okay, let's look at it. Domain, you look at the graph from left to right. It's going from an arrow to another arrow. So the domain, the df or the domain of f is just going to be x is an element of real numbers. In other words,
Is it always going to be that?
yes, it's always going to be x is an element of real numbers. But the range, on the other hand, is not going to always be.
So domain always be
X is an element of real numbers.
for the parabola.
Yes, just the domain though, because there's no limit to your x values. There's no limit to your
Oh,
x
so
values.
it's just the infinity.
It's basically the same as saying x is an element from the interval minus infinity to infinity. It's the same thing. Don't hurt each other there. So that it's the same as saying that. It's the same as saying that. What about the range? Range RF. You look at from the smallest y value to the largest.
Is that all?
Yeah. Look at the graph from the bottom to the top. So let's. How do you work out the range? From bottom to the top.
-8.
It goes from -8 but doesn't stop.
So -8 to infinity.
-8 to infinity. So the range would be y is an element from square brackets. Now brackets become the thing. From
Because it's a close point.
-8 to infinity. There is another way of writing this.
I'm fine with this one.
Is this fine? And some people may write something like y is greater than minus 8. Greater than or equal to. It's the same thing. It's quicker to write. I often forget to show you this, but y is greater than or equal to minus 8. In other words, all the y values are greater than minus 8 or smaller. It's the same as this is the same thing. Written in two different ways. Does that make sense? So that covers the domain and the range. Okay, now let's do the question you asked me about the visual, then we're done. Now the last question. Can I raise this?
Yeah. Wait. There we go.
Okay. Let's go through. This is the last question, then we split. And we're done. I gotta rush home. I'm hungry. I gotta be with my family. I gotta work. I gotta do a lot of things.
Oh, this is a 31-minute long video.
I hope you didn't pause it.
I did not.
Leave it. It's fine.
Hi guys. Welcome to our channel. Please like and subscribe below.
Yeah. Okay. So, first question. I don't know what question we're on. What question number 1?
8.
8.1.
Oh,
Say. So the first question says for which values of x is, so 8.1, g of x smaller than 0.
Yes.
For which values of x is 8.1, g of x smaller than 0.
Oh, this, I hate this.
So which values of x is g, which function is g of x? Sophia, which function is g of x?
Straight line.
Straight line. So they're asking you, where is the straight line negative? Look here, we're always looking everything, with these questions you're comparing everything to the y-axis.
Yeah.
So in words, this just means that, remember anything less than 0 means negative. So they're asking you where, for what x values is the straight line negative? So I always say, if you look at this visually, where is the straight line below? So below the 0 line. The 0 line is
So it's a straight line below.
So everything below.
Okay.
So it will start from that point and everything else. It starts from point A.
So where is the straight line below the origin, basically?
Not the origin, below the x-axis.
Sorry, the x-axis.
Yes. So where is the straight line below the x-axis?
Every point
From A
sides.
and everything below.
Yeah.
Everything after A is going to be. So this one, you would say something like this. So, and remember, the question says in terms of x. So that means all the x values that way. All the x values to the right of A. So, and that means that you would say something for all x's greater than minus 2. Or all x's to the right of A. Then that graph is always going to be negative. So if you look at it like this if you want. If I move like this, what happens? I'm moving to the right of A, but look at what's happening. I'm always going to be negative. Because the graph continues that way. As your x values increases, what happens? It continues, it will forever be negative from there. So that's the answer, literally just that. That's on 1 mark question. So you would get your 1 mark from that. Another way of writing this would be, if you use infinity, it would be x as an element. I'm going to use round brackets, -2. If they use round brackets or that, you keep that and use round brackets. Okay. -2 from x equals negative, from any x greater than -2 to infinity.
Okay. Right.
So,
and the reason why it is -2 is because, wait.
There, A. Remember we're starting?
So how do I put that in words that work for everything?
Sorry?
How do I put that in words that work for everything?
Words. Well, you want to see where the graph is below 0. So the graph is below 0. Here's a reference point. A is like a reference point. Every x value to the right of A will have the graph having a negative value. So for every x value to the right of A, the graph is negative. Do you want to look at another one?
Yes, please.
Here's another one, 8.2. We're still asking the same question. For which values of x is, now f of x greater than 0. What does greater than 0 mean? Above the x-axis.
So wait, x is fx greater than 0. Wait, can I try this? Oh, is f, okay. X is greater than 0. So we have the 2a. So isn't it the same thing because it's a straight line?
It's two regions. It's two regions above. This means f of x is a parabola, right?
Yeah.
We're looking for where the parabola is above the x-axis.
So wait.
There's two regions where the parabola is above the x-axis. It's this part and that part.
So you're looking for wherever it's above?
Above the x-axis. So it's that piece and that piece.
Isn't it just everything above 0?
Yeah, but you need to tell me in terms of the x values.
X is an element.
So this will be for?
Of 0.
No, there's no
to
zeros.
infinity?
No.
Aww.
There's no zeros involved here. Zeros puts me there. I'm looking here. Every x value, look here. Every x value greater than 2. Everything to the right of B.
Oh, I'm looking at the y value.
We focus on the y value only, then we come back to the x. So every x value, look here, every x value greater than 2, then the function goes that way. Every x value less than A, so everything to the left of A, everything to the right of B. So everything to the right of B, look here, everything to the right of B, the function goes up. Everything to the left of A, the function continues to go up. If you were going to the right of A on the parabola, you go this way. If you go to the left of B, it puts you back here. But if you go, point B is there, right? Hello? You're not getting it.
No.
It's a lot simple. Try not to overthink it. You always compare it according to the points. Look at these x points. If you go to the right of point A, what's going to happen on the parabola? You end up here.
Yeah, it's low.
Which is wrong, because they want where the parabola is above the 0 line. This is below. But everything to the left of A, that's what's above the 0 line. So similarly with B, everything to the left of B is negative. But everything to the right of B is positive. So that's what they want.
So you have to write 2 things.
So you have to write 2 things.
Oh, so where was I close-ish? No.
Let's see.
No, there's no infinity.
X value has to be greater than 2. That's right. So x value, so you write it like this. X is greater than 2. That covers this side. Now this side, x must be smaller than negative 2. X is greater than 2, that means to the right of B. And x is smaller than negative 2, that's to the left of A. And then you're done. That's the 2 answers, like that.
So the positive side of the parabola,
So x is greater than 2, and x is less than 2. We'll do one more, then we split. Do you get this one?
This is the most difficult thing.
It's easy, right? Look, let me explain it again. Look at the points. First, you see they want where the parabola is above the 0 line. Here's your 0 line. This part is below. That's everything. This part doesn't meet that condition. This part meets that condition. So if you look at point A, look at point A. Look at point A. If you look to the right, that's x's value is greater than that. Then you end up here, which is wrong. That's not that. But everything to the left of A, then the parabola is now above again. If you don't believe me, take any x value.
I do believe you.
Take any x value smaller than negative 2, substitute it there, you will always get a positive answer. Take any x value smaller than negative 2, you always get a negative answer. That's also what this says. Now similarly here, take anything smaller than 2, you get into the negative section. Take anything bigger than 2, that's to the right, then you end up with a positive answer. So that covers that. The last one, 8.3 is f of x is greater than or equal to g of x. This is our last one now. Now you want to find where?
Okay, so do I just put the value of f of x and g of x in?
No, not necessarily, no.
And then just figure it out from there?
No. They're asking you where is the parabola above the straight line? They're asking you where is the parabola above the straight line? Where is the parabola above the straight line?
So wait, so this is just asking me where is parab above?
Yes, because the parabola must be greater. So in which regions is the parabola above the straight line? Well, if you look at the middle part here,
Everything
look at the middle
upwards
part.
actually.
Sorry?
Look
at the middle part here. Who's above who? Between A and C, which graph is above which
The straight
graph?
line's above the parabola.
So that's not what we're
So it
looking
has to be
for.
A upwards.
It has to be this side.
Actually, everything above.
It's this side and that side.
So
Because
everything
everything
above
to the
A
right of C, the parabola is above the straight line. Everything to the left of A again, because if you look how we draw these, continue drawing, it look like that.
So everything above minus A.
Everything to the left of A and everything compared now to C. Everything to the right of C.
So everything above greater than A.
Less. Remember
Less than,
X
sorry, less
values.
than.
So for all X's,
So is it X is greater than minus 8 and then X is greater than minus 2?
X is greater than,
Yeah, I said
X is less than negative
I said
2.
that.
And then, what do we say about, what is the X coordinate of C? I don't have it anymore. What is the X coordinate of C? What do you say? What is the X coordinate of C?
No, 0 minus.
No,
D.
C, we did work
I
it out.
thought that was C. That's not C. Yeah, there's a lot of questions. The Y ends. No, that's other C.
Okay, I'll find the coordinate of C. We did it. I don't have you should have these answers down.
One there. Is that C?
It's 1 and minus 6. So this value, so C is 1, negative 6. So every X value greater than 1. And X values. So please remember to keep these operators the same. So if they use less than or equal to, make sure you use matching.
So it's X is greater than minus. Sorry, X is less than minus 2.
This means everything to the left, and then every X is greater than or equal to 1, everything to the right of this point. So, yeah, that's it. So just looking at that, do you see here, the parabola is above the straight line.
Yeah.
But in this section, between here, the straight line is above the parabola.
Yeah.
So what this part would be, this part, if we had an 8.4, this part here would be g of x is greater than f of x. And that would be between...
Can I try that one?
Try that one. That one, okay, let's try that one. It will be an interval. I can give you that hint.
Oh, that's delightful. Wait, what? As in, I need 2 of those weird things.
Just try it. Let's see how you do. You want to see where g of x is greater than f of x. So, which one?
When the straight line is greater than
The parabola.
So when it's above the parabola.
Yeah.
Any point to the what's it called? Right of C.
No.
Yeah.
Everything to the right of C, the parabola is above the straight line.
Yeah.
No, we want where the straight line is above the parabola.
I'm looking at the wrong question. Sorry, I was looking at 8.3.
8.4 now.
Yeah.
G of x is greater than f of x.
So everything to the left of C.
Yeah.
And everything to the
right of A.
A.
So it's between A and C. So that it means x is greater than negative 2, x is less than 1. Or we can write it like x is an element from negative 2 up until 1. It's between the x value of A and the x value of C. That's that region. So that is it. Negative, you can write it that way or you can write it that way. Very funny kind of question.
Yeah, I think it's actually easier if we do elements.
Yeah, I like elements But if you use the inequalities, this just says x is between minus 1 and minus 2 and 1, which where x is smaller than 1 but greater than negative 2.
So if I were to do it for 8.3 and writing it as elements.
Oh, yeah, we didn't do that. This is our last one, right? Now time. So write this as an element. We say x is an element from minus infinity. We stop at 2.
It's yeah.
And x is from 1 to positive infinity. In fact, in the proper way of writing that in math, we don't use the word and. Write something like this. I'll write
the U.
I use the
U.
Yeah, the union. That you'd write it like this. X. So you don't write x as an element twice. And you say union. That kind of joins the two pieces of information together. That's it. Right, we'll stop here. That's a wrap. Consumed a bit of my energy.